Hello again, Javatarians. Today we're going to continue with arrays and look into how to count up values in an array. So counting array values. What that means is we want to figure out how many of some value, how many times it occurs in an array. How many elements have that value? So rule number one about arrays, you must use a loop to access all the items in the array one at a time. Okay. And put an if statement to check for the specified value. If that happens, you increase your counter by 1. So in pseudocode, it's not quite Java, not quite English, I loop through all the items in the array. If the current item in the array is equal to the value I'm looking for, I increase the count by 1. And then when I'm done, I will have a count of how many times that value is in the array. For example, so the array count. For example, okay. So my void main down here creates an array with these numbers in it. Okay. The name of the array is nums. I have a method for printing it. As you might guess, it has a for loop in it, in this case a for each loop, and it just prints out each item. What we're counting is how many 7s occur in my array. So I take in the array, I take in the value, and in this case the value is 7, and I look for the number 7 in the array. How do I do that? Well, in this case I've got a for each loop, and if that item equals the value I'm looking for, I add 1 to the count. Now, you also remember count plus plus works the same way. So I just look at each item one at a time. If it's equal to the value I'm looking for, I add 1. And when I do that, it counts up 5 is the number of 7s that appears. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that will give me the total of how many 7s are in the array. Now, the other type of counting I might want to do is to add up how many, or what's the total amount of numbers in the array. If I sum up all the numbers in the array, what do I get? Well, in that case, all I really need to do, instead of adding 1, I just add the value of the item in that list. And that will give me how much does everything add up to. I'm taking each item, adding it to my total. By the time I'm done, I've got a total of what everything adds up to. So just take a look at that. Okay. So this 35 tells me that if I add up all these numbers, it adds up to 35. So 2 ways of adding things up in an array. If you're looking for how many times something happens, I'm adding just the 1. If I'm looking for a total, a running sum, I add each item to my total. And that will give me the total of everything in the array.